It's time for the shop report with
Barbershop Jay.
All right.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. Of course, we want to remind you that the Shop Report is brought to you by Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. You can look them up on Facebook at RDM Detroit, 1D2E's Detroit, or you can slide on over to the website rocketdigital.net. That's ROCKIT digital.net. And make sure when you're there, while you're there, you tell them that BSJ sent you. And for my folk out there in TV land, if you want to leave your questions or comments during today's program, by all means, please do so. We'll throw it up on the screen. And y'all know what's coming next. If you're one of them folks out there who want to leave a question or comment that's indignant or ignorant in nature, it won't be seen on this screen. Matter of fact, here's what you'll get.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
With that being said, joining me on the program today, I don't know where, before I even finish the introductions here, I just want to let people out there know, we've mentioned it a time or two before, but let me give you a little bit more detail, a little bit more background. There are 4 of us in a text thread, a group thread, okay? And it's all of this talk, all of this yarn, all of this jargon back and forth about who's going to say what when the show I can't wait to get on the show and all of that. And then obviously here it is, the show time, and don't nobody show up, right? Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you all should have seen the thread. I'm talking about, it was all up in the thread, stuff that people wanted to say, gonna say. You know, I talked to TJ. He said he might come on one day. And man, get on out of here, man. All y'all want to do is play. Nobody got time for that. Yeah, let me hit you with it again. Anybody? I was, but I ain't. But anyway, my man from up north, Joey James. We're gonna give him a. I can never find his intro no more. Oh, here we go. Joey James, aka Double J. Tell the people what you say.
So I had my first game coaching today, middle and elementary school soccer.
Oh wow, were the kids crying? I'm sure.
Well,
did you buy ice cream? Probably not.
Nope. If it were up to me, they would.
Did you make everybody run laps? Probably.
Yeah. They will be Friday.
I bet.
Yeah. So needless to say, it was a humbling experience, and the inspiration from the Mighty Ducks all those years ago, when Charlie said, "You remember when I always said I'd be a better coach than a player?" It hasn't quite translated for me yet, so still a work in progress.
Yeah, you have to tell me, and I'm telling you, I can tell because of the shenanigans that go on in this program. And I can tell you, they probably already called Mom.
Oh,
can
yeah.
you please get Mr. Jackson back, please. Yeah, this guy here, unbelievable.
Nope.
Yeah, before we get started with our first item on the menu, obviously, for the folks out there who just now joining us, we are doing what he said. There's 3 parts today to the what he said. And, of course, the gridiron. We're going to go over we're actually going to take 3 games, or take a look at 3 games this upcoming week 3 of the NFL season. Then we're going to recap the 3 games from week 2. And definitely, one of them is definitely the Browns and the Jets, obviously. We're supposed to have a mystery guest. Hopefully my mystery guest shows up today, or he comes on today. He's going to give his 13.5 cents on that debacle that everybody's making excuses for, blaming Nick Chubb for whatever reason. I don't even see how that even came. You know what I mean? But you won't blame anyway. Yeah, Joe Flacco and the Statue of Liberty all over again. Anyhow, but before we get into any of all of our subjects that we're going to discuss today, I wanted to give a shout out to a guy, man, Raymond Mallett. He's head coach of the women's basketball at the Cleveland Central Catholic High School here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
If you have a young lady or a young man, it doesn't matter. I take my son up there. My son is getting some work in, training with him up at the high school, up at the Cleveland Central Catholic High School, right off Broadway here. And we saw last couple Wednesdays ago, maybe 2 Wednesdays ago. Anyway, TJ Lang was up there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, the son of Lang, Antonio Lang, duh.
Yeah.
Antonio Lang played with Duke. He coaches a lot of the guys that he puts through his program. So it's not just, even though he's head coach of the girls, he has invite only workouts. You know, a lot of guys are, you know, I'm not gonna name everybody, but TJ didn't mind. You know, I told him I would mention his name here on the P program. Uh, a lot of guys are G leaguers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
overseas, and a couple of guys, you know, played in NBA as well. There's invite only camps, kind of stuff that he runs, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know, he got folks that's looking at prospects and things, you know. So it's people that come into the gym when he's doing his 1-2, they taking a look to see if these guys are worth a pick in the draft, you know, stuff like that. So he's just about his business, you know. But thankfully, because he and I go back a ways, we played against each other a time or two when I was on the circuit.
Uh-oh, the
And
legend continues.
now I'm just saying we played against each other, you know, and had enough respect for his game and him for mine that you know, we exchanged numbers, we kept in touch, so to speak. And I reached out to him and he said, man, hey, you know, he got back to me a couple of weeks after. He said, hey, man, I got an invite only, man. You know, I said, I don't know if he's ready for that. He's like, man, that's how you get ready. Bring him on up. So that was all she wrote. And he's been going ever
Absolutely.
since. You know what I'm saying? So, and yeah, again, I want to shout out I call him Ray Mal, Coach Raymond Mallett, the head coach of women's basketball at Cleveland Central Catholic High School. So if you got a young lady, young son, you know, mid-teens that's looking to really, but they got to be serious. That's interested
Oh,
in getting
believe me,
involved in some
if he
basketball.
talks about room and board, then you can have mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the hoop side, uh, shoot him over to Coach Mallet. I'm not going to give his number
He
out, but
travels a
his
lot,
email
but
is rmallet08 is his email. And then you can look him up at on Instagram at CCCHS Ironman on Instagram, or Coach Mallet at Instagram, and then on Facebook, Cleveland Central Catholic High School. But yeah, he's a real good dude, man. And it's, believe me when I tell you, believe me when I tell you, I've been around a few cats that do the whole training regimen thing here when it comes to hoop, and some are good, some are, they got a nice little piece of change, but you wonder, did you get what you pay for, or did you pay for what you get? You know how they got that type of deal.
oh yeah, all too
This dude,
well.
this dude right here, your first time through the gauntlet with him, you're gonna want to go back. That's he work. You get what I'm trying to say? They have to keep mopping the floors because of all the sweat. And I don't mean to gross nobody out or nothing. I'm just saying he don't play, he don't mess around. If he sees when you come in there, if he sees that you're not serious about it or whatever, he'll kindly tell the parent or the person, if you're older enough, say, look, man, this not going, I don't think this is gonna be for you. You might want to go fill out an application to Mickey D's or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. He
Well,
don't say that, but you know,
look,
he don't mess around.
yeah, and look, I just said a moment ago, I just entered this arena, and it's completely different because, as you know, he would tell you, sure, you're managing personalities, and there is a certain level of expectation, right? I was fortunate enough, I played at a high level with the right people, and I have access to countless, really endless drills of for every position or situation. But and to be able to be elite, there's a reason there's only a finite amount
Of
of,
course.
because it's, as he politely put it, and he arguably probably handles it better than I do. I believe wholeheartedly I would be able to learn a thing or two just by standing there watching. Not
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because to be honest with you, I learned a few things too. His patience, man. You know, the patience that you gotta have, you know, when you're talking to those, when you're talking to kids or whatnot, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, I didn't have it early on when I was coaching my sons, but I guess it's a dad thing. I don't know. But when they when the kids hear from the dad, they go in one ear and out the other. It's they can hear the same thing from somebody else, and it all of a sudden clicks. I don't know. It's just
oh, I know that
the
all too
laws of
well.
dad nature, I guess.
Yeah.
But I wish that had a little bit. I wish that had a little bit more patience, because it requires a tremendous amount to get through to a kid to the point where you can see progress or you see growth, or in the development of the kid coming to you from the first day to the 10th day and so on and so forth. But because me, man,
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And it's not even just patience. It is truly a psychological masterpiece, because you have to, that's why I said about managing personalities, because you can easily say the same thing to two different people, and one of which will never kick a ball again or pick up a ball again.
yeah.
And the other, on the other hand, will run up through a wall for you with the same statement. And that is in itself, we're not talking X's and O's at that point, and
no, we're not.
I have to give a lot of these guys credit, because there's something, it's not discussed enough. Like we on the show have talked about coaching and the role that it plays, certainly within, at the highest level. And we've often been very critical of the win, at what cost, to what extent, or at what expense.
Yeah, I know one thing.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is cool. No, it's just it's refreshing in some ways, because obviously once you've done it, as you have, and as I'm learning, there's so much that the general person who's just watching some, a product on a court or a floor,
they have no idea.
Not a clue.
Just like when it comes to podcasting or vodcasting, I showed you all that graph, what the people see versus what all of what goes into it. Man, come on, man. So to do this every week, once a week at least, you know what I mean? And for 4 years now, I've been at it at least double-digit years now. You know what I mean? Yeah, you all have no clue. I mean, I ain't knocking nobody else's hustle. I'll just say don't knock mine. You know what I'm trying to tell you? Yeah, just don't knock mine. But yeah, you really do. You gotta have a that's why I had to stop coaching, because there are parents there who sit down and watch the games with their kids, and then they substitute, as you heard me say countless times before, they substitute real reality with television reality. So they think their kid gonna be the next Steph Curry because their kid want a arm sleeve. Okay, Dwight Howard, you know what I'm trying to tell you? What you need a shooting sleeve for? You know what I'm trying to tell you? So I got to the point where I had parents, how come you're not playing my son? Well, he's garbage. I'm sorry. I didn't say that, but I'm trying to say, I would have the guys in, and we would have a nice little rotation going, a nice little rhythm going. Then I put that lady and her husband's son in, and then all of a sudden we down 30. And it wasn't once, it wasn't twice, it was 14 times basically. And I'm like, no, I said, come on, man. I said, I know everybody gets a chance to play, but I don't believe in that everybody gets a trophy mentality. No, it's the reason why it's one Super Bowl champion, one NBA champion, one NHL champion, one World Series champion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's all how many teams are vying for that one trophy. It gives you an incentive. Okay, so no, I'm not going to play your son, and he's messing up the flow. And the I'm not going to say the chemistry, he's not complimentary to what it is that we're doing here. You know what I'm trying to tell you? I can't do it. So yeah, I had a couple run-ins with some folks who wanted to come off the bench and out of the bleachers. I said, you know what? No, I'm good. I'm too old for all of that, man. So no, I'll just do clinics and such, and that's where I went from there. Yeah, you can't get me to do it no more. I tip my hat. So this guy Raymond, man, I tell you again. I watch him. And I'm like, wow, you learn a lot just from the guy. The guy's demeanor, man, from start to finish. He knows what to say. And here's the killer part. He had the first time we went, well, we've gone a couple of times. He's had like 70,000 different people on different ends of the court, and it was a mixture of some guys, some grown or older guys, trying to make it to the league, and some young high school girls, and my son. So he had a mixture of people on both courts, but he knows exactly what to say to who and to whom and when to say it. You get what I'm trying to tell you?
Absolutely.
And he's
that's
watching. Yeah, he's
that's
watching everybody. Hey, I'm gonna need you to go back and do that again, run
yeah,
that again, and he'll go and say, "I need you to know when I want you to stop and turn and put them toes on that line and then pull up." Hey,
let,
Michael, I saw what you did down there. No,
right.
stop doing that on that layup. No, and I'm like, okay, wow, okay, yeah, he all over the place. I mean, yeah. So, I tip my hat to you. You just your first round of coaching, your coaching experience.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Let's see
look,
how long it's gonna last.
I don't, I'll say this. I will, despite, so again, this was a very humbling loss. And I explained, look, I think I went not through every emotion. Um, I learned a ton about the group that I have. And I think they learned a ton about both themselves and the people that they're playing with. There were some people that did not see a moment of being out there, and there were some that I had hoped would have wanted to seize the moment that didn't. There were others that tried to that I didn't expect. And so again, to his credit, being able to know and see those things, which I believe is really is both a product of experience and greatness in his own respective craft. There were, if I were to ask myself versus 2 weeks ago, would I have selected a different group or carried less people or something along those lines? I think the answer to right now would be yes. What I'm interested in even learning for myself is would that be the case come the end of the season, or this is a challenge for me to take what I had thought I had seen and to be able to try to mold it into exactly that. And again, that's what starts separating people by, again, at the very least, getting the best out of what that individual has, and getting them to see it. Because, something I made very clear, they were very, for example, Jay, these guys, I have 5th through 8th graders. The team we played is only 7th and 8th. And from what I learned later this evening is that there were 14 of that entire group was 8th. So one of the parents came to me a week ago, said, look, he was very nervous about his son playing against the older group. When they were scrimmaging, it was already separated like that intentionally. I was trying to get them at least a level of comfort, especially amongst their peers, and knowing that they would ultimately be teammates. So that way that fear would kind of go away. I didn't end up playing that kid today. I had him actually at midfield ready to go in when the final whistle went off, because at that point, yeah, the game was decided, but I knew in my heart, if you're already mentally defeated, I have no business putting you out there.
Yeah,
because he was going to play his brother. Most younger siblings are chomping at the bit. Most younger siblings are better, and I would argue that this kid is better based on what I've seen. He actually, despite 3 years difference, is the better player of the two today.
Yeah, I had that with my sons. Yeah, my oldest son, he had to work harder. My middle son, he was a natural, but he didn't work hard. See, he was a more athletic and more gifted, naturally gifted, but he rested on his laurels.
Right.
And that could be, darned if you do, darned if you don't. Yeah, I don't want to say curse type of deal. That's too strong a word. And I said it, but I shouldn't have. But anyway, it cannot be a good thing. Guys get in their head. Well, like some young quarterbacks. Oh, I can fit that throw in there. I'm 21. No. Read your playbook. That type of deal. But yeah, most times that's the case. Most times the younger one is better than the than the older one.
And the problem was that the leadership I was hoping for out of the older group has not risen yet.
Oh, well, how many games have you all played?
Here we go. Just one.
Shout out to Miss Alva. Coach Payne over there did great. The ref could have gone back to Walmart to greet the customers. Oh wow.
You see that? If I wasn't, I didn't say anything about the refs.
Oh
Were there some
wow.
questionable calls? Yeah, but that didn't determine the outcome, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well,
It was,
that questionable calls and refereeing go hand in hand
oh yeah,
on all levels.
yeah.
If I don't get one that's a questionable call, I'm wondering like who paid you.
I bit
I'm
my tongue a few times, but that was mainly because I was thinking of myself balancing the fact that I'm on the board too. That they're going to be like, "Whoa, who is
Oh
that
yeah.
guy?"
Oh wow. You wearing oh wow.
Yeah,
You
wearing
wearing
multiple hats there.
Oh man, it couldn't be me. Not no more. I'm too old, man. Give
Oh,
me a
believe
fresh
me,
pa-
I had to take a nap before I jumped
yeah,
on
give me a
here.
fresh pair of bunny slippers and a cup of hot cocoa, and I'm done for the day. I'm cool on that. All right. I was trying to wait for the other folks to just chime in here before we got going, but we're gonna start the show because I got other things in place to go. We will start with the gridiron first. We'll save the what he said for hopefully for some other folks that might chime in here. And then the first portion of our gridiron, we will go through the three games from week three, the upcoming week three, and if week three of the NFL season. My gosh, I'm drinking water here and still can't talk. Let me see the limits.
That's all the fluoride in there these days.
Yeah, it got to be some kind of ad. I'm glad. Well, as long as it ain't tied, I'm glad. But yeah, tomorrow night, obviously, we got the Steelers and the Browns, and we won't talk about because I'm waiting for my mystery guest to pop in here. We won't talk about the Jets and the Browns as of yet, but we will talk now about tomorrow night Steelers at the Browns. If the Browns, should the Browns lose this to the Steelers at home, so what say you for this season?
Look, I even battled with going both Sunday as well as today.
Why battle with going? Stay home.
You're right, and I have, especially with the prices. My goodness, even for me, right?
Yeah, stay home.
I went. Megan will tell you, that reallocation went. It was like I was there.
Yeah,
as quick as it went these days.
Stay home. That's what I do. You all will learn. See, you all are not. Yeah, that's what I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting you all were born in 2005. That's my fault. I keep forgetting. You all are young. Wait till you start. Yeah, wait till them calcium deposits start building up. I'm trying to tell you. You know what I mean? Wait till you start hearing snap, crackle, and pop, and it ain't cereal going up and down them stairs. Watch what I tell you.
Well, that's already happening. I can tell you that right now.
Okay, well, yeah. I'm trying to tell you. I'm gonna say it before, and I'm gonna say it again. I got the best seat in the house, and that's at the house. But continue. Won't catch me.
I think their season. So if they were to lose, would it be disappointing? Yes. If we were to go back a year's time, you would recognize that they would have the same record. And through the same. Now, here was your catastrophic difference. At this point in time, a year ago, we were talking about a torn labrum and pretty much that the season's a wash. That, Bro Rich and myself were still optimistic they could pull it out. But the reality was setting in very quickly that it was going to be, that there was a very low ceiling on their season. Now, this year.
The ceiling was not the roof. Or should I say the roof was the floor? Take your pick.
So, in the case of this year, do I believe they can win that game? Yes, of course I do. And that's not blind loyalty. That's myself saying, look, if there were a time to beat Pittsburgh at home, which we've struggled with, to say the least, you, our resident historian, would be able to tell us probably exactly what that record is over the last 20, 30 years.
I don't know what it is actually, but it feels like Steelers 300, Browns 2.
Right.
That's what it feels
One of which is that playoff game.
Yeah, right, exactly. And actually, the playoff game counts for the 2 because it was just that monumental. I'm just saying. But other than that, yeah, it doesn't feel like the Browns have beat the Steelers in a long time.
One big takeaway from a week ago, and this is what pains me. We were laughing about the New England Patriots. And I watched that game really, really closely because I've always saluted Mike Tomlin and his ability to kind of turn expletive to sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm watching with Trubisky is that he's still very much the same guy that we've seen in Chicago. The offense is still stagnant like it was in Chicago. He himself has not evolved or changed. He's not capable of making the throws. Cue Dennis Green, he is who we thought he was.
Yeah, that's their one Achilles heel.
And
it's unfortunate that Achilles heel is at the most prominent and important position in all of NFL sports.
It would really
Football.
be interesting to me. I think that really the story of their season, and I'll do this in a roundabout way to come back to the story of our season by saying the sooner they find out what they have with Kenny Pickett, the sooner
they might as well. Yeah, what was he was a 12th year senior. I'm being facetious and cynical. I mean, my gosh, he was about as quarterback ready, NFL ready as any other quarterback coming out in this year's draft. I mean, I don't see what Tomlin knows his team knows. So it's got to be a reason.
Look, they should have. Everybody knows they should have lost to Cincinnati. They didn't, right? It's just, hey, they got the W. In my opinion, they did lose because the loss of Watt is a big deal. Because defensively, Cam Hayward is slow and old and can only be on the field for a very finite amount of time, a very limited amount of time.
But they still got Minkah Fitzpatrick though.
That's right. But
he's a ball hawk.
That's great if you're in a circumstance where you have to be throwing. And
you don't think that the Browns are going to have to be in a circumstance where they're going to have to be throwing?
No, and here's why. This is the tale of two sides, and really
because the Steelers' run defense, the Steelers' run defense been stout since last season.
Where was it? Well, now here's the thing. A week ago, Mac Jones wasn't having very much success through the air, and he struggled all year with that very same thing. So okay, we found out he's off to a rough start. But running the ball, the Patriots have always been this kind of juggernaut of throwing a bunch of, insert no-name guy here that just has a career day. And they don't really have that this year. And so to your point, that lack of success and that lack of O-line that we've seen, and truthfully, a lack of quality play calling. So insert the need for an offensive coordinator, a true offensive coordinator, not a garbage nonsense.
And you're talking about the Steelers still, right?
No, I'm talking about the Patriots at that point. So where I'm going with a defensively sound team, which is Pittsburgh. This is the same team that, in my opinion, when the year that they had Duck, the year that the helmet came off and everything, this is very much the exact same team. But the difference, the one difference is TJ Watt will not be on the field.
How big of a difference will it make? That will
be why the Browns will be in a position. It's not a guarantee, but why they should be able to manage the clock. And I think it was a lesson learned. But the terrifying thing here,
we thought that all last year.
But who was the problem a year ago? Who were we starting to point at?
Listen, last year
it may have been 2 years ago now.
Last year, it could have been 2 years ago. But either way, we're seeing things now in 2 games that we've been seeing the last year or two.
That's right.
And then the excuses last year were, oh, we don't have the right players. We got young guys. So now you got all of the people that you need, and you got in that defensive backfield, and you're still looking the same. Hey, like I said, at the end of the day, I've always put onus not solely, but on the players too, because Anthony Walker spoke up, and I don't want to go off into it yet, but Anthony Walker did speak up and took some blame for not making the right calls and such, which is what a captain, a guy in his position is supposed to do. But I mean, I'm gonna say it now because I just can't save it for later. If a student is having trouble with information or communication, At what point do you take a look at the teacher? Since coaching is the end all be all.
Well,
Just
this is
asking.
something. Hey, look, I'll be
Just
the first
asking.
one. I had an issue today with right. Apparently, no one seemed to know what right midfield was. I threw 3 people in and out, pull them, pull them, pull them.
Well, did you
And
show them ahead of time though?
we've done walkthroughs, and so this is where I had an assistant coach conversation after the game, saying, "Look, if they haven't otherwise been there, don't put them there." Because
Okay.
he had the same sentiment that I did, that was ridiculous that they didn't know.
Do they watch soccer?
We encouraged them to do so, especially over the weekend.
Whoa, 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 whoa. How old are these kids again?
The oldest are in 8th grade. The youngest would be in 5th grade.
Okay, I might cut the 5th graders some slack. No, wait a minute. 5th grade, 6th grade. Nah, 5th grade, you about what? 11,
Yeah,
12?
11, 12. Yeah.
So wait. How did you all have a sit down with the kids? Sorry, folks, for us doing a sidebar, but we're talking kind of like coaching here now. Did you all have a sit down with the kids first to find out who actually watches the game that they're getting ready to play?
No, we asked who's played before, like organized with
Yeah,
a club or prior to who had experience playing.
yeah. Okay, and I understand why you asked that. That is obviously pertinent. But watch. I want to know if you're watching it because that would tell me that you have an interest beyond being made to do it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, again, I
Okay.
gave the
So
excuse in 2002 that you had to pay extra, like serious money. It was an additional cable package to be able to get this stuff unless it was a World Cup. So, but it's 2022
that's
and this stuff is just sprawling. Like it is everywhere. You don't even have to have cable to watch a USL game here locally, which is Detroit
yeah, I know
City
because
FC.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen a couple games too. But okay, but I guess what I'm driving at is there are some parents who, when their kid is 5, 6, 7, 8, he's playing soccer because that's what they want. You get what I'm
Hmm.
trying to say? So when you, as a coach, when they get to 6th grade or 5th grade, and you ask them that question, has anyone ever here played before? Yeah, I played before, but did you want to play? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? That parent is made, and I'm not saying it actually happened, but I'm just saying, I'm just giving you an example.
No.
If
You're not wrong with this
Yeah, if a
because
kid watches it, that means on his own, he's shown an interest
yes,
without having to be prodded or provoked or without provocation. See, if you show me that you've watched it, then and you can name guys, like again, I'm just using us. I know it was 125,000 years ago, but we well then when we had video games, but not to the tune that they do now. We wanted to be outside, so we were playing
yes,
everything. So when we was 5 and 6 7, especially at 6, I'm gonna say 7 8 9 year old range, those ages, oh man, you
yep,
couldn't. We were collecting baseball cards, basketball cards. We knew who Sleepy Floyd was. We knew that kind of stuff. Now we couldn't dribble worth a darn. We had an interest where we try to, how young kids try to dribble between their legs or whatever, and the
right,
ball is bigger than them, so to speak.
yep,
That's what I'm trying to say. So when you get those, once those types of kids get to 6th, 7th, and 8th grades or whatever, then you say, you ask that question, who's played before? Man, I played. I remember when Georgetown, when such and such hit a 3-2-1. Okay, so that kid, he's gonna know where right midfield is, or he's gonna know where the layup is, or he's gonna know where to, how to shoot a reverse or whatever the case may be. It's already kind of built in. But if these kids, if their interest is only at the request of the Guardians, not the team playing down the street here, by the way, but the Guardians, those who are in charge of said kids, then, in other words, that doesn't tell me if the kid has a genuine interest in whatever it is, the sport that he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're definitely not wrong. I think at this point it needs to be almost mandatory because they have to see it. Look, and what can be
do they want to play?
About,
did you ask anybody? Do they want to play?
So this is something that took place. Okay, it was 3-0 at halftime.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah, no, not at all. Especially considering, again, you just heard that very wide range of proficiencies or deficiencies.
Okay.
But the success we had in the first half with certain people defensively, when they came out, the interest, there was a look of, don't pick me. It was like popcorn reading and your vocabulary isn't on.
So wait, they didn't want to go back in?
They didn't want to go back in. And to me, that's was I was very frank about it. And I said, look, if you want to turn in your uniform, I'll pay the money back. I don't care if the school will, I will. I'll cover it and give it back to you. Because if you don't want to play, you owe it to every person here. Not me, but to the people that your peers. Like there was the one kid who I said, I literally looked him in the eye. I said, are you going to give more effort? And he said, yes. And I said, well, let's go back in. He came. I never wanted to pull him out after that.
Okay. So let's back up a second. The kids that did not want to go back in.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the same kids you asked, had they ever played the sport before?
That's right.
And they didn't want to go back in. See, that tells me that they don't have an interest, a interest that they gained on their own in the sport. But then this too, the kid.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes once go around. Like I didn't get going in football until I got a. Jay,
these kids were scared. There was a kid who went to the school the year before. That kid's brother.
Yeah, I kind of figured
they were afraid to play against older kids or kids the same age that they had a preconceived notion up here. They were defeated before they ever walked on the field. And that is something as a motivator.
It's tough to motivate that though.
It is.
You know why? Because
I said, I never want to. I said, look, this is not life. This is not entering the Roman Coliseum. And then, of course, educated them that most of them survived the Roman Coliseum anyway. But this is a game. And so you cannot, as in life, you cannot be afraid to fail.
Yeah, tell that to a fifth grader.
I did.
I know.
I did. You can't be afraid. And again, I'm like, I get it that you guys know, people over there, or they once came to this school. That should have been all the rationale you needed to want to win.
It
not
should
be
have been
afraid to lose.
But not nowadays. Nowadays, that competitive, I want to beat you. Listen, this is why I call the Today BA, and all the other cynicism I give to all the other sports and whatnot, because these kids spend more time playing Madden, playing 2K, playing this, FIFA, and that's all. That's fine and dandy. I don't knock none of that. Okay, but then they see when they do watch every now and again the Kevin Durant's and all of them guys. These guys. Don't get it wrong. Kids still have that athlete as the guy that they dream about or dream of being, so to speak. Okay, it's still that for them. But the example that's being set is you can low manage. No big deal. You can quit. Ain't no big deal. You get what I'm trying to say? You don't have to. You can say, I don't want to be on that team, James Harden, and send me over here, Ben Simmons.
Wow.
You get what I'm trying to. So these are what these guys are seeing now. We didn't see Sugar Ray Leonard. There's no Sugar Ray Leonard's, when Duran beat him the first time, if you watch the documentary, Juanita, I think that's her name, his wife, is Juanita anyway. His wife said they went
Michael
on
Jordan's
vacation.
wife.
Yeah, okay, hey, we all look alike. Anyway, Sugar Ray's wife said that they had went on vacation after that fight. And she said they didn't even get to enjoy their vacation time. She said, I had to get back on the phone. We wasn't even there a week. I had to get back on the phone and call the promoters and say, listen, if you all don't hurry up and do the second fight with this guy quick, I mean, you got to hurry up and do it. He was chomping at the bit to get back at him. Do you understand?
I'm going to give you an example of someone who did that. Almost to a fault. And this is why coaches have to be on the same page too.
Hold that thought. We're gonna take a 40-second commercial break. Don't put that dial down. I don't touch it. We'll be right back. 40 seconds. Count them down.
It's Kate Cunningham. You watching the Shop Report?
It's Chris Murray, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Touch that dial. Stay tuned.
Braxton Key, you're dropping in on the Shop Report.
Hi, I'm Mars Edwards from Mercury Stadium, and you're watching the Shock Report.
Hey, I'm Billy Butler, and thank you for watching the Shop Report. Hey guys, I'm Les Norman, former Kansas City Royal, and you're watching the Shop Report.
Barbershop Jay, Quentin Hines, Super Bowl champion. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm on.
Commander Brown, Detroit Rivers Mountain Training, and I'm watching the Shop Report.
Yeah, it was already back, wasn't it? Oh, anyway, you waving in the background. Okay, go ahead. What were you saying? Finish your thought.
There was a kid who had oral surgery of some kind. I think I seen him open his mouth once. I was told by the athletic director about
whoa. Back up. You said something about oral surgery. What happened now?
So a kid had some kind of surgery. Okay, major surgery to the point I thought like half his mouth was missing, like Kanye in where he's singing through the wire.
Okay.
And so I'm told he's not going to play. He shows up to the game, which is, again, that is the ultimate compliment. That's the right type of player. That's, he's got it. Now, this was a key piece.
Okay.
Now, this kid does not play the first half at all because, again, my assumption is he's not playing. He can't talk.
Okay. But you figure he's not playing because he just came back from having oral surgery.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
He says to me, again, he can't really talk. Okay. I want to play. I want to play. And I'm like, and I verbally say this, you want to play? You want to go in? And he's like, nods. He's like, and then he actually did kind of mouth, I have my gear. Okay. And he goes and plays the entire second half. Now, we lose by a greater margin in the second half, but it wasn't. It was a final score of 7-0. We missed the PK. That was thanks to I would say the assistant coach. So Aiden is a kind of as you may have seen, he has like 5,000 to 6,000 views of his penalty kicks. He's kind of a specialist, and so even though he was the goalie, I was gonna I had already in my mind and I had verbally told him you're gonna take that if it occurs.
Gotcha.
We gave it to the kid who had the oral surgery. The assistant coach said, no, Aiden, go back into the net. And the other kid took it and he missed.
Oh, wow.
Then you could tell there were some things that were off, but the effort was there. You just had surgery. Look, as somebody who had dental work, an extensive dental work, about 10 years worth of it in the last 2 weeks that had required separate visits.
Yeah.
Somebody over here see the pearly whites these days. So
somebody over here who's missing a whole kind of dental work. I got 3 teeth left, 2 in my mouth and 1 in my pocket. But go ahead. What was you saying?
I knew, you're up here. You're not right. You're hazy and all those things. So it was not just admirable or commendable for him going out there, but he still did it at a high level. And then, as I mentioned, the other kid.
Did you check that kid's background? No.
Oh yeah, he has it.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's already in him.
There was
how
another
old is the kid?
Man, he's a 7th grader.
Okay.
So I'm going to have him for one more year, and hopefully, I learned a lot about about how these kids react to adversity, and all those players. It felt like when Michael Jordan looked at the Looney Tunes deep down that bench, and all of a sudden there was Bill Russell. I'm sorry, Bill Murray.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and I think at one point, Tweety Bird wanted to go in and got smacked. But you know what? I had a Tweety Bird that wanted to go in. I certainly had a Bill Murray, and that was what I was looking for. I want to be out there. Now, the other stuff I can, again, over even though it's a short season, I can start from what we've seen today. I can work with them on, hey, this is what you do here. Here's what, the mental side of it with that part of it. But if you don't want to be out there, if the moment's too big,
the internal, there's nothing you can do about the internal. Nothing at all. The kid who wants it is that comes from that's an internal thing, is what I'm trying to tell you.
So
and a lot of times that comes from, that's why I say check a kid's background. If he started off playing this, or any sports in general, it didn't have to be soccer. Any sport in general, where he played competition and he got knocked down a couple times, at some point, because you can be timid at first, when you first start out in the sport. And I don't mean that, maybe I shouldn't use that word, but you can be apprehensive. I don't know.
There's one of those, and he can be awesome.
You get roughed up a couple times and you say, you know what? Okay, that's enough of this. I'm not taking this no more. I'm about to go out there and give it back what you've been trying to give to me. And there it is. It clicks.
There's one kid that I hope, because I've already seen it. The assistant coach didn't want him. He was going to cut him. He wanted to cut him. I said, no. Look how fast he goes in terms of pressuring the ball. He forces turnovers. You can't teach speed.
Oh, you got to keep that. Yeah, you definitely.
However, he was very apprehensive as far as kind of making any sort of contact. Now, of course, he's practices against Aiden, who is a WWE guy out there, just boom, all over the place. And so what happened is there was a collision between the two in a practice, and this kid was in full uniform, like school uniform. He wasn't even prepared, right, at the time. That's why I had to deal with that too. They were coming, no cleat. He was wearing one kid was wearing the Air Pippins.
Oh wow. Oh wow! Oh no!
Yes.
Oh
yes, Jay.
No! Oh, don't to a soccer match. Oh, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave that alone.
At least this dude, even though he was in full, uniform jeans, in a uniform long sleeve, in 88-degree weather, he had cleats on. And once he got collided with, something changed where now he started making contact with people.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to say. So listen,
it unlocked something.
That's what has to happen. But at this stage, if you're talking about 6th and 7th and 8th graders, it's still time for it, because it's just like you just mentioned. But it's best if it had already happened before, prior to now. When we used to, I don't know what you all called it there growing up. We used to call it down the man. And my first experience with down the man was at 7 years old, 8 years old,
okay.
7 or 8 years old. where we would throw the football up in the air.
Yep.
And whoever caught it, you had to get to it. I forget how the game was. I forget exactly how it was played. But you remember this? I don't know what you all called it. We called it down the man. And whoever got the ball, it didn't matter if you was big, tall, small. If you were out there playing, you got your bell rung. Period. Suffice it to say, I got my first concussion at 8 years old. Man, listen. But we was out there playing, but I loved sports.
Right,
so we was out there playing, man, and we was playing with some 14, 15-year-old dude.
Yeah.
It was down the man. That's what it was. Man, this dude laid me out, man. And all I remember is somebody was like, man, how many fingers? I was like, Thursday. It was like, oh, yeah. Let him sit out for a minute. He's done. But it was from that moment, I was back every chance. I was going to. I was one. Hey man, we playing down the man today.
At that point, but you see what again?
It unlocked. Baby.
So one of the very first practice, I actually used a football, and basically what it was is you got in the same positions, just like a soccer game. As soon as the person caught it, whoever it was that it was thrown to. Now, if it's on the ground, it's a live ball, just like a soccer game would be.
Okay.
And there were people diving and all that stuff, which was good. But when you caught it, you were now frozen, essentially. You had 5 seconds and a countdown would ensue because I wanted the kids without the ball to know that they had to move.
Oh, okay, got you.
And for some
ladies
reason,
and gentlemen, obviously, we're not going to get to the majority of whatever it is that we had here scheduled here today because we're this
coaching therapy.
Yeah, right. This coaching 101 is what coaching philosophies and ideologies is what we should have named this show.
Right.
So whatever we don't get to today, we'll just have to come back next Wednesday and get to. Some of this stuff will still be relevant, I hope. But anyway, go ahead. What are you saying? Go ahead.
So ultimately, it was just fascinating to me how some of those principles that in just a short amount of time, the difference of game speed versus practice speed, and why I really emphasize you practice how you play and why you have to be sprinting, why you can't take it easy because again, in our case, the weather's going to change here and it is going to get cooler. That is going to be beneficial to them. However, they, in my opinion, just like you played down the man, I'm going to play a game on Friday where they have to collide to win the ball. That is it. It's a 50-50. It is 50-50 balls. If this microphone were the middle, that is it. Foot to ball.
Yeah,
and
but
win it.
Let me make a suggestion. I do like the idea, but let me go back. Let me back up a bit. When you mentioned about the kid who, I forgot what you were saying to him as far as did he want to go back out there? Something you were saying to one of the kids, like do you want it or something or another? And I was going to tell you, you said in front of all, you asked him in front of every, said something in front of the whole squad or whatever. In that instance, it might behoove you to maybe take that kid off to the side, because at that age, the peers, and kids can be cruel. You get what I'm trying to say? Oh, look, and you kind of maybe, I'm not saying he did or you did or intentionally or whatever, but at times it can feel like a kid is being put on the spot. You know what I mean?
Well, now, thankfully, I don't know. So I should have specified that we were closer to midfield where it was 1-to-1.
Oh, okay, right.
Now,
okay.
The rest of the group is off to the side. So it was, now, was I being quiet? No.
Okay,
because what I wanted to be clear, and this, I had to talk to them about etiquette on that bench.
Okay.
In a metaphorical bench because there wasn't one there. But,
yeah,
if you're goofing off, right? Like, if they were actively listening, they would have seen, hey, this coach just subbed 3 people in for the same position.
Yeah. And okay, so that's another thing. You telling me that while you were talking to him, there were times when the other players were goofing off?
Yep.
Oh, they don't. Yeah. Oh no. See. Oh yeah, man. That's
One
hey.
of,
I
I
I
wanted
tip.
practice to start right after that game.
Oh, I tip my hat to you. That's going to be a tough. That's a tall order to get
It
that. And now
is.
who's to say? Who's to say? You know, kicking and screaming, that type of deal. What was the name of the movie where Will
Oh, Will
Ferrell was in
Ferrell,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know, who's to say? You know, it ain't how you start, it's how you finish. So we're gonna keep hope alive. But I'm just trying to tell you right now, you like Julia Childs, boy, you got your work cut out for you. Okay, you're gonna have to make
I was
a
ready
bundt cake out of this.
to do,
Oh
and
wow.
I hope I will get a recording of this when it happens. I know I'm going to record it. I just hope I
Yeah,
get
you
the
have to.
opportunity
Yeah,
to.
you have to. Yeah.
I've been waiting probably my entire life to do it's not worth winning if you can't win big.
No,
The
don't.
original Mighty Ducks.
No, my gosh, no. Oh, well, you know what? That might be now. Now, here's the thing. Here's the idea. And another idea came to mind here. Show them. Do you all have group sessions like where everybody can come to somebody's house?
We're working. We're. See, I'm trying to implement a lot of change here.
Well, if you can get all of the kids in one location, I don't know, maybe out somebody's backyard and get a projector or something, whatever, something that, you know, a solid, put up a curtain, a dark colored curtain, and get a projector, and you can maybe show YouTube clips or something or another. Show a few of the clips from Kobe when he was young playing against, you know, overseas, older guys overseas, because that's how younger players, of course,
that's how they
don't
get
want,
better. That's what you want.
but they have to, but the way you infuse that, or the way you get these young players to understand that, you have to spoon feed it. Listen, and I'm telling you this from experience, man. And I'm not saying I'm all that or not. What I'm telling you is I've had to learn the hard way. I did this with my sons, and I regret, because I was intense as a player.
Right.
I'm not saying I always won every time out, but when we laced them up, I was coming at you. It's a battle royale. And initially, I felt like, because that's the way I was, that's how my son should be if they're going to play. Even though I said, listen, they came to me, they said, we want to play basketball. I said, okay, it's only 2 roads. I said, one road, you could be a backyard baller. You know what I mean? We'll go get you some shoes out from the shoe depot and whatever, and whenever we outside barbecue, we'll put a hoop in the yard and we'll let you in. And then it won't be no problems. But if you take that other road and you say you want to be what you want to be, then we getting up at 5:30 in the morning. We're gonna run. We're gonna get you a weight vest. That kind of stuff, and then you got to come back, get in the shower, and go to school or whatnot.
That's one of the biggest challenges. How did you get any? Okay, so let me ask, because you went through it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They said, well, I want to be a hooper. And I was too hard on them. I'm not gonna say I wanted them to be me, but I know the intensity you got to have when you choose role B. You get what I'm trying to tell you?
Right. There's a level of just look, and this is something. So the stance I've taken on this very same thing, right, is there's a certain amount of hours that, and it's out there. I think it's 10,000 to master something.
I don't know if it's 10,000.
It may be greater than that. And so but ultimately,
I don't know if you can put a number on that, but go ahead.
What I've tried to use to get through, because it is a different generation, is that no matter what it is you're doing in your life, at some point the natural motivation is going to go away. It's going to become a job. And what separates those,
that was my mistake. I made it out to be a job from day one, instead of letting the natural motivation kick in, take his part, and then turning it into.
I think where I'm worse, or where I could be better, is because I'm always kind of analyzing myself in how I handle these things, because some are new and some aren't. You know, I even though I'm actively officially listed as a coach, as you put it, you know, no different than yourself. You were already coaching them. It just, you didn't have an official title other than dad. So
right.
So what I've tried to show them instead is just simply, you're going to have that moment or that day that you don't want to. And you're going to have to push yourself to do it and to get through it.
Yeah. No question.
I've used examples of YouTubers and showed that they've taken breaks.
But see, you know what that comes from too, though. But you know, how a kid gets through that is how they respond or react to losing. That's what it was for me. My coaches said, "Hey, I can't. There's nothing I can do for you on that. If you don't, those days where you don't want to do it, then." I said the same thing to my sons that my coaches said to me in that regard. And now that's one thing I don't regret.
No, what was it?
Look, they was like, look, you can't you don't feel like doing it today, but you just told me yesterday you hated losing. Well, what you mean? How you hate losing? Okay, if you hate losing, they said I came around the corner. What you doing? You over here talking to these little kindergarten girls. You know, they wasn't kindergarten. I'm just saying you talking to these little girls. But you say you hate losing. Oh, but you don't want to go put no. Then you don't hate losing. Then
you don't want to put the work in. Yeah.
Yeah. If you hated losing, then I should hear the ball. You get what I'm saying? I should have to come. Where he at? Oh, he running already. Oh, he. You know, if you. Okay, so those days that you don't want it, they come from, and you pushing yourself through it to do it. You know, through it to do it, and through it doing it comes from. I'm tired of, you know, and I gotta. It's been a minute. You bringing back. It's been a minute. No. It's been.
I like it.
I've done the recommended reading.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just have my time is my schedule is all out of whack. But
do I gotta give you a motivational speech here?
No, because I will recommend. Hold on. You know what? Let me see. I'll do it right here while we on the air.
Hey, we got some time. Let's do it. What do we got?
This book here, The Boys of Dunbar.
Oh.
Yes, this is the story of the Muggsy Bogues, David Wingate. This is the story of that Baltimore high school squad that would mop Oak Hill with Carmelo, that will mop St. B's with LeBron, that will mop just about any high school squad you can think of in recent memory. If you all have not read this book, I'm telling you right now, it's probably a glare off my light here. Let me see. Can you see it there?
Yeah.
The Boys of Dunbar.
There
we go. The Boys of Dunbar. And you know what? I'll just read a few excerpts from it. Why we write? Oh boy, yeah.
Please.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have to do the rest of this stuff next Wednesday. But anyway, The Boys of Dunbar, a story of love, hope, and basketball by Alejandro Danois, if I'm pronouncing that right, Danois, Danois. And the reason why I'm just gonna read a little bit here and there. I'm gonna read what some of the people some of the writers for the Baltimore Times and the Sun, what they said about the book. And the reason why I'm saying that is because for every young player, I recommend. Oh, let me turn it around again. Sorry, The Boys of Dunbar. I recommend reading this and then reflecting on what you've read. If you're trying to be whatever you want to be in whatever sport it is, I don't care what sport it is. This right here will give you that motivation.
Can I ask you something before you read it?
Well, go ahead.
Something I've always questioned myself was the role that adversity in life and the impact that it has on an individual within a sport, because we don't have to hone in on any one singular sport. But when you look at some of the, you could look at it from simply just the volume of those that are the quote unquote greatest, or the best of their respective sport all time, all the way to just those that make the highest level. Adversity and triumph over circumstances that in many cases I would say are beyond their own control. Again, these are the cards that were dealt, would allow them, would serve as this metaphorical X factor in their desire to be successful as how they define it. Because again, successful to me is fluid and it's subjective to the individual, success as a whole.
Well, if you,
so what I'm asking before giving the excerpts, we know the DMV area, and this is going back to in a day and age where obviously there were a lot of technological things that aren't present today.
Right.
But these guys served as that pillar that would then become, unbeknownst to most of the country, of this hotbed of hoops.
But this Baltimore was a hotbed before these guys. These
Think
guys
so?
Baltimore, Philly, New York. We're talking all the way back. We're talking at least mid 60s as far as back some of the stuff I've read.
Okay.
If heaven was a playground, that's another hoop story. I got so many books that I'm waiting to do the recommended readings on, man. And this was definitely one of them. But I'm saying mid 60s at least. Shucks, even sometime maybe even the 50s, even, but the 60s and 70s and early 80s, those all of that New York area, that eastern coast or whatever, Jersey, all of that, man, it was hoops hotbed. But these guys, the Dunbar boys, this group of Dunbar boys, like in that 3 or 4 year span, they just took it to a whole nother level. Because they mentioned guys like Skip Wise. Skip Wise was arguably, and I'm talking about this guys like Pee Wee Curlin and them guys who made the Rucker circuit, who talked about Skip Wise. And Skip Wise was from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And the guys who played, the Wingates and the Grahams and the Reggie Lewises, they talked about Skip Wise. And Skip Wise was maybe 4, 5, 6 years older than them.
You
get what I'm saying? He came before them. He got caught up in the streets, and you know how that thing go back then, especially in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s or whatever case may be.
Well, hey,
but they said Skip Wise was arguably one of the. They said Skip Wise was probably the best player. And I'm don't quote me because it's in this book. Okay, either they said, and these are people not just from Baltimore, people that on the hoop circuit
all
around
over,
it.
yeah.
They said he was. They said he was probably the best blacktop player ever.
Wow.
If I remember correctly. Yeah. Skip.
So, but that puts them there. Look, there's only a select few.
What do you mean?
That are ever put into that category. Len Bias, Skip Wise, Benji in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
My question, and why, again, dealing with adversity, again, as you referenced in the book itself, that they point to someone that went the wrong path, that fell victim to that very same adversity, served as a motivating factor, as a way for them to, despite having to go through their own individual things, kind of a reminder.
But it's a combination. It's a combination. And see, adversity could be your circumstance, your environment, your situation. But then you being in that said situation, environment, or circumstance, now that's the one element. Then the other element would be your mindset. Some people have the mindset where the adversity is so adverse, it just takes them under. Then there are others who say, you know what? No, no, bump that. I'm about to show you, I'm about to prove y'all wrong. I'm about to, and I'm gonna do whatever I got to do. So
here's why I asked this.
How you respond to it, I guess.
Even with that book specifically, look what's happening to someone we've featured and brought light to on the show, which is Amani Bates.
Yeah. I really don't want to until I find out more about what's going on with him. I really don't want to speak on him or whatnot because, he's been a friend of the show. No.
I will always be rooting for the kid. I supported Eastern Michigan athletics this year in two ways. I have 2 season tickets for row 2 this year. And then I also purchased, there's a game at Little Caesars Arena versus Michigan that, again, before this happened, it was my way, my own personal contribution to say there are still those that are in your corner that, because to me, if there were, basketball is a sport that he can make a tournament run. Look, George Gervin, the kid that played for the Denver Nuggets for a few years. There's been enough that
but it's all in how he perceives himself, though. And I don't want to say anything bad or negative about him, but I'll just say this in general. I've seen players personally. I know a player who went to my old high school. Well, I'm gonna just say it this way. I know players who have gone to universities and they've had to deal with coaches that weren't going to say to them what had been said to them all a while before they got to the university. Everybody was, oh man, you that dude. Then the coach said, hey man, no, you get in line, get at the back of the line. I don't care if he was a freshman of the year, that type. And them guys be like, what? So then they take offense to it, or they get abrasive or whatnot. In other words, some guys, and I'm not saying this in the case of Imani. What I am saying is, a lot of these guys at these lower levels, they got a false sense of entitlement. But that's stating the what in this case. My thing, let's talk about the why. And I'm not saying that he does. I'm just giving an example.
Right.
A lot of these guys have this false sense of entitlement. So then why do they have that? Because you got people like ESPN who will go down to some high school football player and put him and his mom and all. And I get that, they deserve the recognition, guy work hard and whatnot. But some everything don't need a camera in front of it. We're going to announce I'm going to Georgia next year. Okay, so here we come with all of this fanfare and all of this parading and prodding and so on and so forth. Maybe he got to a certain point where they was like, no, we don't do that here. We don't play favors, or ain't no nepotism, or whatever the case may be. And he like, what? You know what I'm saying? And for the first time in a long time, or first time in probably never, ever, somebody done told you something different than what you've been hearing, and you ain't used to it. So you get an attitude or you pout. You know what I mean? I want out of here. Because again, look at what they're seeing. These guys at the lower levels. They're watching the NBA.
Right.
The NBA now this is why I speak so. Everybody want to talk about how talented it is, and I get all of those things that whatever people want to say about the NBA that are actually true, I'm in agreement with, that are actually true. But the part that they're not looking at is the players now these kids are looking up to them. They're not going to just go try to go for 30 like you normally do. You heard what Devin Booker said, and I got mad respect for Devin Booker, but you heard what Devin Booker said in the video, in the clip that went around the world. Hey, man, we're not throwing double teams in pickup, man. And the guy in the background was like, yeah, we are. Yeah, I'm coming at you again. But then they showed the same clip of Kobe. And the dude was interviewing Kobe, and he asked him, he said, man, what you think about the double team? He said, no, you're going to need to bring another one. You get what I'm trying to so these are the players, these are these new age players that these guys, these young guys are seeing, and they're emulating them to a T. They're not just trying to go for 30 like these guys are doing. They saying, oh, if it's cool for D Book to sit out or load manage for 25 games, then shoot. Then you know what I'm saying? You know, then I can tell my coach, no, I ain't playing for you today. I'm going in the transfer portal. I mean, this is
so as a coach, how, you know, this is where the Rays of the world.
That's why I'm showing. That's what. See, I'm not showing when I. And this is another thing. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you got me going now. That's one thing. If I wish my sons were here, they went over a friend's house, but they would tell you. I'm so grateful. This is a lot I keep trying to tell TJ. My sampling size is bigger. See, I seen Tim Hardaway. I seen Kyrie. I seen Nate Archibald. You get what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
So when I told my sons, when my son said, Dad, I said, man, you probably gonna be a guard. I said, but just because you're gonna be a guard or you're gonna be built, guard body, I said, that don't mean you don't need to learn your footwork. I need you to learn sometimes you might not be able to face somebody up and beat them off the dribble. Like Mallett, me and Mallett was talking, Ray Mallett, Cleveland Central Catholic High School, once again, the basketball trainer for girls, boys, and young men, grown men, whoever, whatever stage in that game you're trying to get to, Ray Mallett, Cleveland Central Catholic, the girls head coach of basketball, he's the guy to get you there. But he and I were talking, he's like, I realized early on that I couldn't beat you with my first step. So I had to start really studying guys, and I learned I could get, if I get that shoulder, I'm gonna attack your shoulder. Once I attack your shoulder, then I can come and spin off. See, that's being a student of the game. Everybody want to go in the gym now and hoist. Come on now. That's what I talk about. That's not complex. That's not difficult. That's not complex. What's complex is saying, okay, I don't have the foot speed that this guy has, but how can I beat him? Now that's complexity to me. It's trying to figure out, coming up with a formula or a way to say, and I can be effective. That's complex to me. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, I told my sons, I said, look, man, the idea in this sport in particular, in any sport, to tell you the truth, is oh wow, look who decided to show up late. we done got all the way off of what we were supposed to talk about today. We talking right now. We kind of touching on. We talking about coaching in the advent of coaching. And
Joe Woods needs to go.
Yeah, we know that. Okay, but what I told my son was, I said, look, man, in any sport, the idea, if you're going to play that sport, the idea is to have somebody to recognize what your weaknesses are, or you as a player recognize what your weaknesses are, and then when you start putting in the work for that sport, you want to make your weaknesses strengths. You want to maintain whatever your strengths are and then make your weaknesses a strength as well. So my sons are right-handed. So when they were doing layups, I said, okay, what we're going to do in layups, we're going to do 3 with our right hand to maintain our strong hand, and we're going to do 5 with our left hand. The 2 extra will help every time you're out there. It will help to bring that left hand up to speed with the right hand when you're doing layups and whatnot. And then I had them watching.
So what hand do you drink your Metamucil with?
The same hand. Listen here, Joe McForehead. Don't start no Knuckles McForehead. Don't start no stuff right now. So then after that, what I started doing, Double J, I started showing him tapes of guys who had, even though like Tim Duncan, and Kevin McHale, even though those were forwards, he playing guard. He's like, why are you showing me them? I said, I want you to watch for them. I want you to watch their footwork. You get what I'm trying to tell you? Learn the footwork. And then I showed him guys like Kyrie, Steph Curry. But then I showed him Tim Hardaway, Ricky Pierce, Terry Cummings. You know, I would dip back in older guys, newer guys, and it was a mixture. So these guys nowadays, a lot of coaches aren't doing that. They're just showing them everything today.
Yeah.
And what they're seeing again for the most part is what? That it's okay to load manage. They don't have that drive. You know what I mean? They expect it. And then, you know, especially when they came out with this, everybody get a trophy. You get a trophy. You get a trophy. No. Just like boxing, there's too many belts. There's no incentive anymore. What they guys say, well, wait. Why do I need to fight for the IBF when I can go get the Clark Kellogg belt? Just so I can say I got a belt. You get what I'm trying to say? No, it's no incentive no more. You know what I mean? But what were you saying, TJ? Joe Woods got to do what? Oh, my bad. Hold on, TJ. My bad. Anyway, for the people out that's been out with us for the last hour and 25 minutes, I was we was talking about coaching.
Here we go with that book.
What you don't read? I dare you to say that on national television. Say it.
I don't read that bull crap right there.
You see what I'm saying? Do you
Double
see
J,
that?
can I get my intro, man? First
No, you don't get no intro for that disrespect.
Let's get it going.
Anyway, anybody that noticed, I'm so glad we got you on record for saying that. I'm so glad we got you on record for saying that. Understand this, Knuckles McForehead just said the boys of Dunbar was garbage. But anyway, we was talking about the Double J. You was wrong for that. He don't get his intro. He was disrespectful. Anyway, the boys of, and this is some of the things that the various writers for various newspapers throughout the country said. The Boys of Dunbar is more than a book about basketball. At a deeper level, it's an inspiring tale about the magnificence of the human spirit played out in the lives of young people on and off the court. A gem of a sports story. Danois' tale, that was from Bill Hughes, Baltimore Times. Danois' tale of the basketball exploits of a handful of high school students in the 1980s shows young men motivated by their coach and other recreation leaders to dream beyond the hardship of their geography. Expertly recreates not only a season, but the mood of a growing sport. That's Bill Jane C. Bain, the Washington Post. And then from Booklist, the numbers say everything about the magical run by the boys basketball team of Baltimore's Dunbar High School in the 1981-82 and 82-83 seasons. Inspirational stories can be found everywhere in high school sports, but Dunbar and his legendary coach, Bob Wade, and for all of you all who are not familiar with Bob Wade played for the Baltimore Colts. Okay. Way back in the day, and I think it was Don Shula was the coach I think it was Don Shula was the coach. And you go look up Don Shula's
1940s.
Yeah, like that hairline. Anyway, look up Don Shula's coaching.
At least I got one.
Yeah, you bought it. You look up Don Shula's training regimens. Bob Wade adapted some of his training philosophies and methods for the boys of Dunbar. That's why they were one of the best high school teams ever, if not the. Yes, The Boys of Dunbar is a book about high school basketball, but it is much more than that. The Boys of Dunbar is a book about survival, a book about perseverance, a story about hard work and overcoming obstacles. The courage, leadership, and drive are remarkable, and The Boys of Dunbar chronicles it from its beginning. So at the end of the day, Double J, when you say you got to get these young guys together, man, and start showing them other players at their positions or other players and what it is that they're trying, the sport that they're trying to play or the sport they're
not showing them that, man.
Because we've been on here talking about it for an hour and a half, man. Don't nobody want to see your Knuckles McMustache, man. Every time you come on here, man, we got to see half of your face, man.
He avoiding the question.
We already been over that, man.
I'm gonna let a real basketball player answer this question. All right.
Okay.
My boy Doug right here, man.
Hey Doug, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Hey,
James. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's happening? Hey, your boy right there, Knuckles McForehead.
Oh, the boys of Dunbar?
Yeah, would you tell him?
Baltimore. That was Baltimore, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Baltimore Dunbar. Oh man, that's Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, he just came on here and said, "Don't nobody read this garbage."
What?
Don't.
See, Double J, this is what he do, man. He always twisting the story around.
I know you ain't talking.
He just said that
Auntie Anne's pretzel.
Reggie. Hey, Baltimore Dunbar. There, bro.
Okay, I believe it, right? Let's say I believe it.
The 80s was they
My question is, right?
DeMatha too. Remember though?
DeMatha, yeah, absolutely.
Here we
Yep.
go.
Yep.
See, there go one of my victims right there. His legs still ain't recovered.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I got you. Anyway, that's because he ain't Stretch Armstrong. What's your question, man?
You said that the coaching today don't show the old style or the old players or whatever. So why do you say that? Like you be in the locker room, you know this to be true?
That ain't what I said at all. That is not what I said.
Because I guarantee you the guard play today is a little bit better than that guard play from back in the day. I'm just
Oh wow.
You mean just the athletic ability though? That's what you're basing it off of.
Thank you. Would you tell him, Doug? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, y'all, this guy right here, Doug Underwood, he played point guard, left-handed, hard to guard back in the day for Shaker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate yeah, for sure. He did. Anyway, yeah, would you school him, Doug? School him.
Just the athletic ability is just different, man. But the concept of just running the team oriented, the basic fundamentals, man, we mastered that. The old school.
So you saying today they lacking the fundamentals?
I'm not saying lacking fundamental, but what I'm saying is you talking about the guard play is better now than what it was. That's just on an athletic ability type. You know what I'm saying? Because that all changed.
I feel
of
like
course. 80s, 90s,
but I feel like
2000s, everybody gets athletically better. Technology is different. You know what I mean? Thank you.
But here's what I try to. Here's what he came in on, Doug. He, like always, he come in on the back end like the donkey. I'm not gonna say we don't cuss on the program, yeah, but like the donkey, we all know what they call a donkey in the dictionary.
No,
starts with the letter A. He always come in on the back end of the letter A, and then want to try to make a whole story out of the situation. What I said to him was,
today, the players overall are better than they was back in the day.
Man, anyway, yeah, I got you. Yeah, they better overall at low management, if anything. But anyway, yeah, you know,
they do that, man.
They better overall at low management. What I was saying to him, my other co-host here, he coaches soccer, and I was explaining to him how I helped to get my sons prepared, regardless of the sport. I said I showed my sons old school when they were playing point guard. I showed my sons old school players and new school players and some in between. So you could get the understanding of the diversity of it. I'm not just gonna show you these new school guys who just hoist up shots every 25 doggone seconds. Because here's the thing.
Hey man, stop it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You got real hoopers. You went to the wrong one. See, that you thought you had a simp.
They just hoist up shots. They go in all of a sudden more than they went in.
Yeah, right. You ain't never seen 1 for 11, 1 for 17.
Right.
I'll see y'all in a minute. All right, good luck. All right, Jay.
All right, Doug. I'll catch up with you. Yep, it's all good. Yep.
You like to say a lot of little. You like to throw in a lot of little bad little.
Hey, I don't care whoever it is you talking to. I don't care who you talking to. You right, they wasn't shooting like that back then. You know why? Because dudes because at the end of the day, dudes had a whole lot more respect for the possessions. Every possession matters. So the shot selection was selective. Nowadays, you got teams shooting combined 135 three-pointers in one game. And at the same time, you got teams, no matter they marquee or not, go 4 or 5 minute stretches without scoring. Both teams, everybody trying to reach that certain level that the doggone statisticians and the analytics say you got to reach in order for probabilities and all of that stuff. The game is all about FanDuel and analytics now.
So
it ain't about fundamentals.
You want the score to be 56-60. Huh?
No, I want you to watch the game without the sound on. Do that.
Why?
Because it's a whole different perspective.
Run up and down the court, not saying stuff.
Hey, I tell you what. Until you can do that, you ain't got nothing to say, really, because you still ain't done that.
TV on mute though. Why do I gotta watch TV on mute? It's not
exactly,
1960, man.
Exactly, because you're not trying to watch the game. You ain't trying to watch the game. You caught up in the pomp and circumstance. That's what you caught up in.
You talking about players hoisting up shots like everybody?
Yeah, they do.
Court.
Hey, I know this. I watched James Harden. Let's not go back. Let's not go back there. See, because what you're doing now is clickbait. We didn't give you plenty. We didn't gave you plenty of Lamont Sanford. We didn't gave you plenty of examples on this program for the last 15, 20 shows. This showed you how James Harden went from one end of the floor to the other for a game-winning layup off the inbound and never was made to switch hands. Come on, man. Don't tell me the game more fundamentally sound. It's not. and I can prove it to you. I done told you, come to the house. We'll watch a game. I bet you can't sit still long. Your attention span ain't long enough, man. You can't.
Nobody want to watch a game where the
I
paint
know,
is packed and the score is 50 to
because
55.
I know. I got you. It's all good,
Yeah,
Knuckles McFoley.
my boy said so. He got a question for you.
What you think about Giannis?
Giannis, he's a heck of a player. That's ambiguous, though. What do you mean specifically? What do you mean?
I mean, overall, what do you think about
his whole game?
Because a lot of people would say he outdated, but I don't think he outdated. I think
no, he's not outdated. But see, if you look at Giannis, you can see the progression. When he first came into the league, he was just a bully ball type of player. He was taller, more physical now. But if you look at him now, he added jump shot. You can tell he's been working on his game. He has progressed from whatever he was to what he is now.
Well, now, hang on, but don't forget the role that diet actually played with Giannis, because he grew up. So we talked about those. What I brought up, which is adversity. You know, obviously his brothers are on the team, but there's a metaphor within that, which was that it was real, actually true, which was he grew up only eating a quarter of the food because he had to share it with them. So that concept of, you know, so he had to train his whole body all over as it pertained to diet, just due to the fact of his upbringing. So again, there's a number of other elements in there, and that's why it wasn't some kind of mystery as to why he got bigger and stronger. Obviously, it certainly helps with the right trainers, but just that alone, that one difference allowed him to become, kind of grow into, you know, his fullest potential.
Yeah, he made up his mind that he wasn't for every workout he ever did, and I don't know this to be true, but I don't know because I don't know him personally, but I bet you if you ask him, he'll tell you every workout I ever did, I always had in mind that we ain't have enough to eat.
I got one question. So when you say players of the day hoist up shots, so I guess you coming from the old school, so would you say based off that fact you said, or that opinion, I guess it would be a fact or opinion, depending based off your opinion, would you say then if that's the case, LeBron is better than Michael Jordan?
No.
Because I watched a lot of games, and Michael Jordan used to host up a lot of shots, and LeBron is very selective in his decision making on whether he should pass it or shoot it.
So a lot of people will debate.
I mean, again, I'm a Kobe fan.
Let me be.
Say LeBron James is the greatest player, because me personally, I would choose Kobe. But then I understand.
Oh, they love you on this show because they
listen. Let me be specific.
I was playing devil's advocate, so that's that whole question.
And that's fine. But let me be specific. The argument that we've had, or the debate that we've had constantly going back and forth whenever we do our hoop section on the show, has been about the 3-point shot in particular.
Okay.
That's my beef. And the shot selection. When to take it. Every situation does not require that shot to be selected. You know what I'm saying? Guys don't even, a lot of times you watch teams come down on offense, they don't even run no sets or whatever it is. The guy come down one pass and the 3-point shot go up. Clang. Then the other team comes.
That's all, not to cut you off. I think that's all because everybody's they're trying to copy Steph Curry and copy people like Dame. But
no.
When you watch Dame and Steph, when they not hitting on the outside, they taking you in. Steph got
Thank you. They do it. Thank you.
Got the mid range, but everybody else not.
Thank you.
Do you remember the drill?
That's been my whole argument. That's been my whole argument. It's like how do you go 1 for 17 and 15 of them misses his threes? You don't. There ain't nothing else you can do to go eat.
But wait a minute. You got to take into consideration. I told you.
Well, I don't really care for James Harden either. I like him, but I don't. But like he all right, but like I rather
they main focus with the 3-point hoisting is James Harden. That's what they
no, that ain't my main focus.
That is your main focus.
My main focus is the league in general.
This is where I defend the league, because they're taking away the unders by running the zones more frequently than they did historically.
Blake Griffin, who was probably really good, who expired quick. Andre Drummond, who expired quickly because he's not a big who can shoot the 3. And I don't feel like every big needs to shoot the 3, but I understand if a big can't shoot the 3, how much harder that makes the team.
Hold on. I disagree. Now we disagree right here, because he said Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. Okay,
two Pistons.
You got Drummond. Yeah, 2 Pistons, right? You got Drummond, who's out of shape, and his style. He never been that good for real anyway. Then you got
don't tell him that.
Blake.
He'll fight you.
Hold on. You got Blake. You got Blake who got injuries, right? So you talking about the bigs? Let's go to Zion. He's not a good 3-point shooter, but if he's healthy, he would dominate this game.
Not saying, but he don't need to shoot.
But wait a minute, you're talking about with Blake and Zion.
But I'm saying the way the game is going, if you're not healthy and you got all the other stipulations, you need to shoot a 3. And what I don't agree with that.
It's a career extender.
Yeah,
it really is.
You're gonna lose your explosiveness at some point.
I don't know.
Listen, I'm with him. I don't know the young man's name, but Jermaine, okay, James, man, but BSJ for the sake of the program. I'm with you.
Joey.
A lot of big, Double J. A lot of bigs. The whole idea of the bigs and shooting threes and all of that, it really started with the stretch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Guys could stretch out. Okay, I'm cool with that. But now guys, once they start stretching out, then nobody go back in.
Yeah, nobody flashing.
Then nobody go back in. Everybody stretched out, and then ain't nobody start going back in again.
But wait a minute. The role that transition essentially the role that transition plays in today's game has changed drastically too.
But in the playoffs,
that's why someone like Drummond is able to average 14 plus.
Right.
Because he's cemented down there. Exactly. Yeah, you're pointing it out. And that's what allowed somebody like Westbrook to get 10 rebounds uncontested from his own team because there was simply nobody there.
Adams will let him give him the rebound.
Whoa. Hey, Double J, you my boy, but I disagree.
No, dude, I watched him move his own teammates aside to let me get the ball.
Listen.
It was like 3 points.
Listen, I can't let you dog Russell Westbrook.
Oh boy.
Because once upon a time he was my second favorite player. I'm gonna be honest with you. And when he was,
that's hard. You being honest. That's no. That's like saying that's like saying that you ain't got a mustache.
Life is about to stop. It's about to expire. So I'm gonna get cut off in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Westbrook, when he played with Ibaka, okay, when he played with Steven Adams or even
Nick Collison,
okay, he wasn't shoving them around, especially not Ibaka. He got a triple-double with blocks. Come on now. He wasn't moving them around. Westbrook effort was there. He was grabbing rebounds, bro.
In Washington. I'm specifically talking about Washington.
Washington ain't have nobody.
Exactly. He was in there and told them, get out of the way, and I'm grabbing the ball.
Listen, in the playoffs is where people forget about the bigs and the way a big should be able to be utilized or should be utilized in the playoffs. The playoffs are still what they are, regardless of the era, so to speak, or the modern era up to now. You can get away in the regular season with doing all that fancy, all of that type of stuff, but in the playoffs, the game slows down. You need to have a big. This is what like a problem in Utah, for instance, when Rudy Gobert was there. Rudy Gobert was not the kind of offensive big that you could throw the ball into and then spread shooters out and let him go to work on the inside. He was a glorified garbage man. DeAndre Jordan was a glorified garbage man.
Okay, but what about Andre Drummond then?
He's him too. A lot of his
You're very disrespectful, bro.
Man, listen. I do not see.
You very disrespectful.
I do not see Andre
Drummond. Them bigs you had back in the day.
No, I'm telling you right now. I'm talking about today's bigs. I'm talking today's bigs.
No, even
today's bigs. I would take Joker over Rudy Gobert and Andre Drummond and whoever else combined.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to. I'm using today's bigs.
What about Tyson Chandler?
Oh,
no, Tyson Chandler had his best years with Chris Paul. He was in
Chicago.
No, Tyson Chandler wasn't the guy. Listen, when I say Joker is the kind of guy. If Murray got the ball up top, he can drop the ball down in the Joker and then run to it. Murray can run to wherever else he want to go out on that floor, and they can get a bad. Joker can put the ball on the floor and make something happen. You can run offense through him. Rudy
Okay, but
Gobert.
how many jokers you had in the 90s? You had only 1 or 2 of them.
I'm talking about. Listen, I'm comparing this era to this era's bigs. Rudy
Wait a minute,
Gobert.
Shaq was really good at just his.
Did you hear what I
ball
said? I'm not even going back to my era. I'm talking about stay in this era.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you pointing out Joker. It's only 3. You got 3 or 4 bigs.
Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go through the teams right quick.
You got Cat. You got Greek Freak. You got Joker, and you got Embiid. Who else?
Ain't nobody else. Aiden, you can't do it with Aiden.
Aiden ain't he ain't got no motor. He's low motor.
Yeah.
No. But listen, because he ain't got his motor, don't have nothing with his ability to do what I'm talking about.
Well, hey, listen.
Anthony
your best
Davis,
ability
thank you.
is your availability. And
No. He still has the ability. He still has the ability. If you want to, you can drop it down into him.
Scored in the paint for the Suns. They just kept running all those guard plays for Mikal and Booker, and Booker kept going dry.
Yeah, Booker overrated.
Aiden still has the ability. What I'm saying to you is,
but that's why he overrated. He inconsistent, bro.
Rudy Gobert is a liability come playoff time, an offensive liability come playoff time.
Hey, I feel like this about Rudy Gobert, right? If you put now he's going to be on the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
His role is going to be lessened, and watch how much he dominates. He's going to dominate even better.
You know why? He playing next to Cat.
Why would you want Rudy Gobert to be your second best player? We know his skill set is deep.
Hey, listen, did you hear me? Did you ever hear me say anything about him being the second best player? I didn't say that.
But I'm letting you know that was their second best player, and he got paid.
Listen. That might have been their second best player. I just used him talking about a big and not being able to utilize him. You can't throw the ball down to Rudy Gobert. Cat is going to cover up a lot of Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is still going to be cleaning up misses. That's what he's going to do. He ain't no Mobley. He don't move his feet like Mobley on from an offensive standpoint for the Cavs. While you talking about it's only Embiid and 2 other guys.
But Rudy was never that. They knew what he was when they drafted him.
That's why, and listen, and that's why Utah's expectations always was expected.
Who was?
That's why they kept getting ousted in the first round.
Nobody was expecting them to win.
How were they successful being? They were the number 1 seed in the West at one point in time.
Because 82 games you beating up on bottom feeders for the most part throughout a regular season.
Yeah, you just playing regular season.
Thank you. And then when you get to the playoffs, you get exposed. Which is what I'm trying to tell you. Teams that have bigs who you can actually create, who can create their own offense, or you can drop the ball down into, they usually fare pretty well in the playoff when they get to the playoffs.
Well, all I know is a team who was big less won the championship.
Who was that?
The Warriors. They ain't had no bigs,
but they had people who was hungry.
Who was Wiseman?
What was
Wiseman was hurt?
That's true.
But
so wait.
People doing stuff. Everybody was
to be honest, they went against a team who was just overrated and got through somehow.
They went against kind of a big list team too.
I guarantee you,
Al Horford.
I believe we could beat the Celtics.
Grant Williams.
I don't believe in the Celtics.
I mean, does that sound like stellar centers?
No.
Y'all got Horford. Horford, they center, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah. So I mean,
and Horford is 1,000 years old.
And that's so we talking about 2 centerless teams who went to the championship.
And then the team without a center almost lost. It went 7 for a reason. Or 6.
It went 6.
Okay, it was gonna go 7. It almost went 7. It went 7 for a reason.
Emotional damage.
What I'm saying to you is, believe me, ask any team whether they got to the finals or otherwise. Ask any team would they love to have a Mobley or a Giannis or somebody that can go to work in the post or in the paint area. Somebody that can go to work in the post or in the paint area, and they ain't got to be looking up at the rim to
You got a fast one
to clean up all of the misses. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. Come on,
so
man.
now,
Cut it out, man.
We talking about centers now, right?
Oh
so
boy, here we go.
Well, this your basketball savant. He came back.
Yeah, I told. Okay, go ahead. Say what you say. Go ahead and tell your lie.
What you mad about last time? He went right with
man,
you.
Who mad?
You should have played your music. Good looking, bro. Play the music.
I don't need to play the music. Ask the question, man.
He was disrespecting Rudy Gobert, right? And the only reason I say this because Rudy Gobert was never supposed to be some type of offensive prodigy or anything. He came in as a defensive player, and that's what he played. Right. Now he talking about, oh, well, he don't do this offensively. He can't move his feet like Mobley. Well, he is an offensive player. You got
okay. Let me know when you're done.
You heard that?
What'd he say?
Old school big man with no offense.
Old school, keyword.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
But a
Hold
lot of them centers had offense, though.
Oh, no.
Who, Luke Longley?
A lot of them old school centers. Hakeem. Patrick
Uh-oh.
You talking about
Brad Doherty, Jack Sigma,
Who you talking about?
Rick Smith,
who missed the free
But
throws.
he had offensive ability, man.
Come on, he had Pippen dunking all over him.
Doug, that's what I'm trying. Yeah, don't take the phone away now. Don't take the phone away now. Yeah. Don't take the phone away now. Yeah.
Doug, come down here, man. I need your expertise, man, because he hollering, man.
Yeah, don't take the phone away now. Now you want to take the phone away, man. Go on, man. Cut me in and cut it out, man. Cut me in and cut it out. Anyway, are you done? Because if Doug is still in there, then I can say what I was gonna say the way I said it. Okay, what I said, Doug, was this. I said Gobert is a glorified garbage man. He ain't the type of big that you can drop the ball down into and come away from him and let him go to work. He ain't that type of
Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, you can't.
He ain't that
You
type
call
of
him
dude.
Tristan Thompson.
He's
not Tristan Thompson.
Putbacks, stuff like he cannot create.
That's all I'm saying.
That's the key word. Create.
He cannot create. He cannot create. And I want to be
no garbage man.
That's what he is. He a glorified garbage man. I gave him glorified. What else you want? Knuckles McForehead. I gave him glorified garbage man. I told you that. I'm saying I ain't saying he ain't.
They can shoot.
I wouldn't call him a garbage man.
They can shoot threes. These bigs, man. They can do a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. You got to be.
If you got 4 or 5 bigs who can do that, it's 36. Bro.
First you said 3, but when I named 5 more, now you saying 4 or 5.
Man, he just said bowl, bro. Jermaine said that. He said, you got bowl.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I ain't seen enough of him yet to really say what he could or what he can't do.
He do got a skill set.
Yeah.
He got a skill set, but I don't think it's offense. I mean, it's defensive. He can't move his feet.
Like 7-footers now, man. Back in the day, strictly underneath. Yeah. Now you got Durant, them type of cats like that. That's just handling the rock.
Has he pull up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why.
Well, let's not pretend that Shaq wasn't doing that in '92.
Yeah, Shaq was doing that. Yeah, Shaq was doing that too.
Shaq was doing what?
In Orlando, he was handling the ball.
Yeah, Shaq had handles when he was slimmer. Shaq had handles. Z had handles too. Zadrunas had handles too, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, R.I.P. to his wife.
Yeah, Zadrunas Agauskas had handles, Jack.
I don't know what you call it handles. You mean you talking about like a footwork? What are you saying handles? Like
how's handles and footwork? They two different things. We ain't talking about the handles.
Hold on. When I hear handles,
we're not talking about your handlebar mustache. That's not what we're talking about. When I say handles, it's what you do with the hands in the dribble game, and footwork is separate from handles. Don't try to play me, man.
So he don't got handles then, because if you talking about handles, we talking about point guard player or something like that.
No, for a big, Zadrunas had handles.
Man, I'm about to hang up on him, man.
Good, my guy.
Hey. For a big,
Alonzo Mourning could create.
For a big, yeah, absolutely. Alonzo.
We got another one here.
What it do, big dog? It's all good. Yeah, Alonzo Mourning too.
Alonzo, okay, I give you that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you ain't got no choice. But what? But who? But what?
But Z, I ain't giving you that with the hand.
Man, yeah, I know you ain't. I know you ain't giving me that one because you ain't seeing. At the end of
yeah, we about to get in like around 2020.
Let's see. Who
Yeah.
else would have been out there?
But at the end of the day, I'll caution all my folks out there. You know what I'm saying? Here's one more again. The boys of Dunbar.
Yeah, you talking about that? Remember the Dunbar?
Yeah, the boys at Dunbar. Yeah, absolutely.
Baltimore
the boys at Dunbar, the Baltimore squad.
Bowles, David Wingate,
They would have beat any. They would have beat that squad. Would have beat any whoever you had as your favorite high school team, guaranteed.
They was smacking people. Them and DeMatha.
You just want that's clickbait. I ain't going for it.
No.
All right, y'all be safe. Okay.
Yep, it's all good, man. You better be glad. I used to have him page. They used to have stuff page mark. You better be glad. I wish
you
my
ain't
son
take your
was here.
Metamucil. You ain't take your Metamucil today, Grandpa.
Yeah. Anyway, we didn't get to none of the stuff we were supposed to talk about today, but it's all good.
I thought we were gonna talk about the Browns, bro.
Well, I thought you was gonna show up 25 years earlier. But
you know I'm at work, man.
Yeah, and you don't do nothing now. What you mean? You had talking about you at work? We don't do nothing.
Read my
you don't do nothing. What you do? You still safety and security? You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Man, your collar, man. It's all
hey, listen. Hey, I went in there one day. They was talking, call him over the loudspeaker. TJ McConnell, drop the candy and get away from the girls. Drop the candy and get away from the kids. He had a pocket full of 9-laters, man. Come on, man. You got to cut that kind of stuff out, man.
Okay, I see his comedy session. Take off your hat so I can get started.
Take off your hat.
Let me see the
Take
bird
off your
nest.
helmet.
Let me see the bird nest up top.
Take off your helmet. For what? I don't let you listen. Listen. This is part of my persona. I wear a hat, Jack.
Your little goatee.
Yeah.
All right. Little grandpa vibes.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, like I said,
he got a little crowd. He trying to show off, man. Come on, man. Get to the next subject.
It ain't. The subject is over. It's 2 hours in, man. I got to go to work in the morning.
Oh,
we
yeah,
just done.
I forgot. You got an 8 o'clock curfew, man.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You ain't take.
Yeah. What you use for your hair, man?
Same thing you use.
Chia pet.
Sponge. You use it for baldness. I use it for curls.
Scott's weed and feed. I got to give me some of that because I'm telling you, I didn't want your hair didn't look like that. I saw you yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I saw you yesterday. You over there taking something. Yeah. Quit dipping your hands in the mail. But anyway, we're gonna get out of here. As I said to the viewers and for all the folks that joined us, we appreciate y'all for joining us and weighing in with this talk. But yeah, we're just gonna save this week's stuff for next week. You know, and hopefully everybody that was talking all that smack in the thread get on here for next week. TJ, you think you're gonna be here next Wednesday or no?
I'll be in the locker room with the fellas. We'll be here waiting.
Gotcha. Yeah. Anyway, and on that note, I leave you all without a quote. It's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out every Wednesday at 8:05 on the PM side, right here on the yard. Or y'all can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the shop's fan page, and of course YouTube. And make sure you hit that little bell over there, the little ding ding, the subscribe button. We'd be much obliged. And if that don't work, y'all can Google it. For my man's Double J, TJ, and all those who follow us and support us, and all those who tuned in or weighed in, we say thank you. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!